Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Unraveled. Thank you so much for joining today. I am super excited about today's session. But before we hop in, I want to make sure that I'm asking you to like, share, subscribe, because there's not only Technically Unraveled. You've got the game, you've got the academy, you've got a great slew of hosts that are here to make sure that you as partners have all kinds of enablement at your fingertips. So you don't want to miss out on all those. If I have not had the pleasure of meeting you, I'm Kristen Fehrenbach. I'm the Senior Director of Microsoft Go-to-Market here at PAX 8. Today, I have been really, really excited about this session because there's always changes at Microsoft, okay? I think we can all agree on that middle ground. Today, we're going to have on Marissa. She is the Director of Vendor Product Marketing here at PAX 8. We're going to dive into, there's some game-changing things happening with New Commerce Experience, otherwise known as NCE. We're going to talk about the partner-to-partner transfer tool. I know you as partners have a lot of questions. I've been on these Microsoft monthly updates with you. You've been asking them. We've brought in the expert to talk about it. So let's just talk about what we're going to go through on the show today. So first thing is first, NCE and the partner landscape. So we're going to cover everything that is going on overall in NCE because it's really changed the way that you transact as a partner. And then we are going to really dive into the Microsoft Partner-to-Partner Transfer tool. There's functionality, specific questions. How does it work? What's it look like? How does it function through PAX 8? We're going to hit on all of those things. Last but not least, most importantly, right? How are we going to get all those subscriptions over to PAX 8? Hopefully, right? I mean, I think that's the goal for, the end of this show. That's what I would love to leave here with is all of you wonderful partners coming to PAX 8 and letting us support you in the best way that we can. But without any further delay, I am super, super excited to welcome Marissa. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us just a little bit about you. What do you do here at PAX 8? And maybe a fun fact?
Happy to. I knew you'd be asking that. That's the PAX 8 way.
It is.
I know. I support a team that helps build our integrations into our marketplace so that we can talk, procure, and bill different products for our MSPs. So I help support and manage a kick-ass team that really works with Microsoft to ensure anytime you order something, you get that thing and you get it as quickly as possible so that you don't have to worry about billing and provisioning and you can focus on your business and some of the other exciting things we offer here at PAX 8. Fun
100%.
fact.
I know. I was like, you can't skip out. I'll
know
wait.
if I talk fast enough, maybe she'll forget. So fun fact, you've all maybe heard of the Eagle Scouts and their top award. Well, I got the gold award for Girl Scouts, which is the equivalent. So just fun fact about me, be prepared. Back in the day, I was one of those Girl Scouts.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I have never heard that one from you. That's my favorite part about these fun facts. All
I had to
right.
rack my brain for that one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. I like it. Now, there's a lot going on. And I just want to start out by saying the biggest shout out to you and your team for continuing to just make things happen with Microsoft because it is not a small thing. There's always different changes going on and operationalizing. So you do have a kick-ass team. So thank you and your team so much. I want to start with an overview of how NCE has really changed the partner landscape with Microsoft.
Yeah, I think we can all fondly remember the day NCE went live. It was a big one for the entire channel and for MSPs. I think for most MSPs, they felt this really impact how they work with their customers. The hope was that it would allow them to forecast better and to plan for how many licenses they have. But we know that the channel is a little bit more flexible. It's a little more volatile, I guess you would say. Customers, they come and go. They have new employees every day, every week. So it's hard for MSPs to kind of work within those parameters. But I think they've done a great job fitting it into their business model. The other side of the coin, though, is when you have a commitment for your customer, you also are locked into a commitment with your provider who you're procuring those licenses through. So I think that has been a challenge throughout the channel, because we often find that MSPs, they want to shop around like all of us. We're all trying to save a bit of money, find the best price for where we can get the product, or find a provider that can give them the most benefits and support to manage their business like Pax8 does. So it was a bit of a challenge for MSPs to find, like, hey, I'm stuck here now for 12 months, but maybe I want to shop around. So Microsoft heard you all, and they've built a tool to help allow us as providers the ability to support our partners as they move through the channel, because that is the natural behavior as those of us that live and work and breathe in the channel.
Goodness. I don't know if anybody who worked in the channel will ever forget NCE transition day. So I feel you there. So the partner to partner or P2P transfer tool, can you just tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I think the first thing to note, it's a little confusing for partners. When we say partners, we mean our MSPs. And that's not the case here. When Microsoft is talking about their partners, they're talking about us. They're talking about their indirect resellers, Pax8. Yep, they're talking directly to us. So this tool was built specifically for indirect providers. It's a tool that it's not meant to be facing to MSPs. But let me tell you a little bit about what it does. So first, you are a customer. You're talking to your current provider. You want to understand, what does it take to transfer? And you'll say, great, what's step one? Step one, you're eligible to transfer. You're going to work with us to build a relationship with us, those GDAP relationships, and have the permission so that once you move to Pax8, we can actually do the things we need to do to provide you support. So that's step one. Step two is we would initiate a transfer request. So again, because this tool was built for partners or providers, it's another fun way to look at it, we are the ones that must initiate the request on your behalf in Partner Center. By doing so, we're saying, hey, current provider, we are asking for these given subscriptions for this customer tenant. Can we have them? And then step three, your current provider reviews that request and they determine which subscriptions are eligible to leave. They approve them, and that instantly moves those subscriptions and that tenant to Pax8. So it's a pretty seamless product, and honestly, pretty simple to use for providers. So we've been really enjoying it. But that's kind of the flow we're working with.
I like it. So maybe that's where we just say the provider to provider transfer tool. Maybe that's how like we will just think about it as
Yeah.
we go forward, because I think that obviously as an indirect it always gets a little bit confusing, but thank you for clarifying that. So it's really meant for the indirect partners to be able to work together if there's
Yes.
any transfer request. Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
So we're aligned there. Now there's always rules. There's always different things that come with these new products, offers, changes, things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you just kind of talk to me a little bit about the new rules that come with the process?
Yeah, definitely. And what you can expect, right? I want to transfer, but what does that mean? What am I transferring? What happens? So, first thing to know, your commitment will stay the same, no impact. The best thing about the tool is there's no impact to you, to your users, there's no redeployment. Everything is kind of just picked up and plopped somewhere else as it is stands today. So, that's one of the benefits of the tool, is it allows providers to grab everything in its current state and just bring it on over to our house. The second thing to know is billing. That's what we all care about here. How do I make sure I'm not being double billed? What is my invoice going to look like? How do I push that down to my customers? So the way that Microsoft built this tool was under the assumption that you will be prorated in your billing. So if you are, let's say, a monthly billing model, I decide I want to transfer on the 15th of the month. That means you're mid-month and in mid-commitment. So during that month when you actually transition, the first 15 days were billed by your current provider, but now the last 15 days need to be billed by your future provider. So the expectation is that your current provider discounts or rebates, returns, whatever you want to call, they give you your money back for those 15 days that you're no longer with them, which we were anticipating, so that Pax8 can then bill you for those new days moving forward. So it's to minimize that double billing incident. Same thing for annuals, though. Annuals, a little trickier. You've paid for 12 full months, so that bill's a little bit higher, a little steeper. If you were to move 6 months into your commitment, you can expect that your current provider will credit you for the remaining 6 months of the term. That way, Pax8 can bill you for the remaining 6 months of the term. Again, we would only bill for what's left of the time you have, and then at the time of renewal, we'll charge you for the full term, whether that's monthly or annual. So that's a big one. And then lastly, I would say the big thing to note is eligibility. Microsoft built this tool as a mechanism for us to support all of our partners. But they did not put any rules or guidelines around it. They wanted us to be able to manage our business as indirect providers. So each indirect provider has the ability to determine what eligibility looks like, when you can or cannot leave, what you must do first before you're eligible to leave. And it's really important to note that because Microsoft is not setting those rules, but they did that to help us because we all operate in different ways, and that is the nature of the channel. So it provides us that flexibility, but we at least have the tool now so that when we find partners that are ready to go, we can support them in that.
100%. Man, there's always so much that goes into it. So this is why we so appreciate your team, because I mean, think about this billing, right? So partners are going to get back, say they're on an annual commitment, they might say, I don't know, a few $1,000s that are coming in, however much that is. So tell the partners, don't take that money, don't go to Vegas, don't bet it all on black. They are going to have to repay that to their new provider, right?
Exactly. They can gamble if they want, but they will still have to pay the new provider. So
they're still going to have to.
choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, hey, red or black, we'll decide that later. So Pax8's actually done some of these successfully, and I know that you brought a video. So let's go ahead and roll what that would look like.
I am currently logged in as an MSP, and if they would like to kick off the process to transfer subscriptions to Pax8, our expectation is that they navigate to the catalog, and then they would search for Microsoft NCE change of channel SKU. So you'll see here that in the catalog, a single product will appear. It is called NCE change of channel request. It is a $0 product. We have no charge for it until we know what's moving over. So this is how we initiate the request. So at which point they would select which customer they're doing this request for. So all transfers happen at the customer level, or the customer tenant in Microsoft terms. So they must select a company they'd like to request a transfer for. The price will always be $0. The quantity is always a maximum of 1 because it's only one request. And this is a one-time charge, so they should not expect to see subscriptions persist over time. This is just to initiate the process and let Pax8 know they're interested in this behavior. They have to say when it's effective for, because this is what will kick off our process to actually start the transfer system. So we'll go ahead and add to cart, and then you will hit checkout. Is this a change of channel request to bring subscriptions? Most commonly, you'd say, yes, I'm coming from another provider and I'd like to move my entire existing business, versus I'm requesting to move subscriptions currently with Pax8 to another provider. So there's two workflows. If they're coming to us or inbound, it's important to highlight that we have some disclaimers and expectations here. But most importantly, this is the basic information they will need to provide to us to initiate this request. We need to know where they're coming from, who the customer tenant in question is, the name of those given companies, who their current partner or current provider is in the channel, and what their current provider's Microsoft ID is, or tenant ID is another way you can call it. But we need to understand, that's how Microsoft initiates a process via API to understand who they're getting the subscriptions from. And then we also need their MPN ID as the reseller themselves. We then ask them to list the subscriptions that they would like to move. So we have a rough idea of what's coming to us, so we can verify if it was released based on what they expected to be released by their current provider. And then we just have some additional acknowledgements here that they understand they're moving with commitment, and there's going to be some billing expectations there. And finally, we talked a little bit about in that diagram, they have to accept a relationship with us in order to allow us to long-term manage their subscriptions via API and provide them support. So these two steps must be completed. Upon completion of checkout, what they'll get is a pop-up in the Pax8 platform that tells them, please go notify your current provider that this transfer has been initiated. But essentially that's the last step, is they complete purchase, that kicks off our process, but then they have to notify their current provider, because today Microsoft does not have any kind of mechanism to notify people. So humans have to go notify each other that this has been done. Please go review this request and approve it. We don't have a relationship with the current provider, so we can't be the ones to do that on the behalf of the partner. So they have to do it. And that's why we put some banners in place after this checkout goes through that they now need to go notify. And that's about it.
All right. So, big thank you for getting that recorded for us because I think for partners to really just be able to see it, it makes it a real thing, right? Like we can say, hey, you're going to go click here, click the hamburger, it'll do the drop. So, big thank you for actually going through and providing that because right now, new processes, right? And so,
Yes.
as we go through, what do we think maybe will change in the future? Because as new processes from Microsoft come out, it always takes a little bit of time for us to
Mhm.
ingest and understand what's going on. So, do we think that the current process is going to stay, or do we think that in the future it might change a little bit?
Yeah, we are dreaming big here. We're really hoping that the future will change. We want the experience to be better for our partners. I will be honest, we moved fast with this to stay close with Microsoft. They released this thing. We said, great, how do we keep up with it? How do we help put a request initiation in the hands of our partners? So this was the quickest way we could get something to market to support what Microsoft's putting out. So I will say we hope to iterate and we hope to take our learnings from those partners that have helped us with these first initial transfers, develop something that's better and provides our partners more visibility and more control over their transfers and requests. And we want to stay close to Microsoft. They are continuing to iterate on the tool themselves. So as they give us more power to take actions via API and to build deeper integrations with them, we want to take that on. We want to make it better because I think our partners know us really well, and we truly believe in automation first, right? We want to do our best to automate everything we possibly can, so that we can scale and grow with all of our MSPs globally. So for us, this is a first go at it. So we appreciate everyone that's been working with us and that's been patient. I know a lot of buzz has been around this tooling, but we hope it'll get better. But for now, this we hope that it'll ease your transition as you hope to transfer today.
I love it. So, we were quick. We've got it up. Partners can actually go
Yeah.
in, make the request. We're rocking and rolling. Maybe they run into a roadblock. They're like, hey, man, I got some feedback. Maybe they love it. They just want to let you know. Like, how do we get feedback back to you, Marissa?
Yeah, I will happily say, please do not email me personally. It will die in a graveyard for that feedback. So let's not start there. But if you are working with your CAM, that's a great place. Your sales representative, your channel account manager is a great person to provide some feedback to. They have a direct line to our team, and we live within our product and engineering group who are helping to build the marketplace of the future. So we take that feedback and really inject it in. How can we make the experience better? So I'd say start there. But I think, Kristen, maybe you have some other paths forward that they can give some of that feedback.
Shameless plug, very shameless, that I
Do it.
will take right on. I not only host this show, but I do host our Microsoft monthly updates. We try to hit the first Monday of the month, and please go and register because we cover anything that's new that's happening with Microsoft. You, as partners, you can go in and actually leave comments. I will tell you, there's a team on the back end that works feverishly taking down all of these notes. We take them directly to Microsoft for feedback. So talk to your CAMs. The CAMs provide the feedback directly to Marissa's team, my team, but also those Microsoft monthly updates because that is where we really get to hear your partner voice. So absolutely, please go register at those at PAX 8 events. I love it. I love it. All right. Now, we want to make sure these are as efficient as possible, right? So, is there anything
Mhm.
that maybe the partner, when I say partner, I mean like our PAX 8 partners, to be clear, I know we're going to be really clear on these. So, are these anything that our PAX 8 partners can do to really just make this just a more efficient process?
Yeah, I would say yes, there are definitely things we can all do to make things a little better. And it comes down to communication. Let's get philosophical here. We just got to talk to each other and things are going to work out better. I will say, we talked about it a little bit earlier, eligibility to transfer. That is something that is unique to every provider in the channel right now. So I couldn't tell you what some of our peers are doing in the channel to say if you're eligible or not. We're really focused on what PAX 8 can support and cannot support. But if you are with a current provider that says, you know what, we are not allowing people to leave during this window of their commitment, or you maybe need to work with us to close out your final invoices and bills. Let's talk a little bit about that billing behavior. All of those conversations happening up front will help you move quicker through the process because that provider will now know you're interested in transferring. That means a request could be coming their way. But you can also remove some of maybe that admin or some of the additional steps needed prior to moving. And that's really going to speed up the process, to be honest. I know that can be a difficult conversation at times, but it will really streamline how quickly you can move so that you can be on your own timeline instead of waiting on the provider to do the proper steps needed to approve or review your requests. So I would start there. And the reason why that helps you move faster is because this is a time sensitive process. We haven't talked about that yet, Kristen, but that's one of the issues here with the tool, and I wouldn't say an issue, but it's one of the parameters they've built, is that we've got a timestamp on that thing.
So a timestamp. Are we talking like a 7-day cancellation window timestamp? Like what kind of time boundness are we in here?
Yeah, we don't have 7 days. Luckily, we've got more time than that, so that's very
Okay,
helpful.
good.
Yeah. The tool that Microsoft built has set a 30-day window. So once a transfer is submitted, so you saw that video, and the second you complete the purchase of that, a transfer request is sent to your provider. From that moment, you have 30 days to approve it as a provider. After that, it expires. So that means even if it's day 31 and your provider realizes, oh, I need to go in there and approve this thing, it will be gone and they can no longer hit the accept button anymore. It goes away. So we have to essentially kick the process off again. And keep in mind, these requests are at the per customer tenant level. So if you're moving your entire business and you have 10 customers, that is 10 new requests you have to reinitiate to ensure that that provider can then approve them. So if they don't meet that 30 days, it expires. So it's best to kind of keep up with your provider, check in with them regularly if they haven't approved to release those subscriptions to Pax8 or any future provider you're moving to, because otherwise you're going to have to start the process again. And I know that can be tedious for some of our MSPs that have many customers, but even those that have one or two, that's moments you're taking away from managing your business or supporting a customer to move that business over to us. So keep that in mind. That is a ticking time clock of 30 days. But we've been seeing that the channel's been moving pretty quickly. It's been really helpful, especially those that talk to their provider first. It moves a lot faster.
Communication's key. Shocker. I love it. Okay, so 30-day window.
Yes.
Let's say it's going to be at the customer level. So let's say I've got 10 customers, right?
Yep.
I go to my provider, I say, hi, I would like to leave. They deem me eligible, or they say, yes, that's fine. Fly, birdie, you may go. But they don't approve it, right? Maybe they don't go in, they don't see it, they're not checking it, whatever the case may be. What happens to, am I just out of luck, or is there another course of action that we can take?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's some of the feedback we provided Microsoft ourselves. There's other than submitting another request, there is no action. So yeah, that is the tough part. It's really important for all of our partners to understand that today, in the state that the tool is currently, there's no notification to the providers that a request has come through. So the only way we're aware that something's sitting there and needs our approval is if somebody tells them. As much as I'd love to call up some other providers and tell them I'm waiting on an approval for something, unfortunately, I cannot be the person to do that for you, or Pax8 can't on your behalf. So that is up to our MSPs to reach out and notify them within that window to say, hey, I need you to go take action on this. You pre-approved me, or we discussed this previously, and something's in there for you to go action. So that is a really important call out. Thanks, Kristen. If we don't want to have to reinitiate these requests, then we really need our MSPs to act as those notifiers to really make sure that someone's aware something's in there. Otherwise, unfortunately, as you all know, we have a lot of customer tenants that we support and manage with you all, and we won't know which ones to click into to go approve that request. So it's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack unless somebody tells us it's right over here. Come over here and accept this thing. So if you can stay diligent, then we don't have to do this re-engagement process. But even if they miss the window but they verbally approved you, unfortunately, we have to kick it off again. So that would mean through Pax8, if you'd like to transfer to us, it's reordering of those products in our catalog to initiate the API request to ask for those subscriptions, and then getting on your provider to say, hey, it's here again. Please go in and accept those.
One time, two times? Is there a limit to how many round ways we are going to go through here? Or I know that obviously, like as the annual commitments come up, like that is prime time. They're not locked in. That's the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah.
But like if they don't do it once, is there any cutoff? It saying like, hey, there's a 3-time limit.
Oh, yeah. No, there are no rules like that today. So never say never, but today there's no kind of guardrails around how many times you can do it. I will say though, typically where the behavior we're seeing from MSPs is they're picking up an entire tenant and moving everything within it. But the way the tool works, a current provider can choose to only release, say you have 5 subscriptions. Maybe you all spoke about this ahead of time and they're only willing to release 3 of them. So that means you would need to send the transfer request again for the remaining 2. I know that was some quick math there, but basically you can do it again and again. So there is no maximum how many times you can request to transfer things. It's really just about how many subscriptions are remaining or persisting that you would like to move. But we're finding that most times people are bringing everything over that they can at that given moment rather than splitting between multiple providers. But as you know, Microsoft still supports that. We're even finding that some MSPs, they're just close to renewal. So instead of doing the whole transfer process, they're just doing what they've been doing in the channel today, which is at time of renewal, not renewing with their current provider and starting new with their future provider. So if you are close to the window, you can also do that. And then you don't have to go through the hassle of coming back to your provider, say, go approve this thing. It's in your system. Go do this now, do that. It requires less back and forth. So we are encouraging MSPs, if you're close to, do that. If not, you can request to transfer subscriptions for a tenant as many times as you want. There's no maximum.
Awesome. I love that Microsoft's giving options. And I think that is
Right.
the key here is that Microsoft's allowing the partners to do what's best for their business. And if that is staying with who you are through the duration of your term, that's perfect.
Mhm.
However, if you're ready to change, there's a tool available to get you moved over today. So I love options that we are going through right now. But Marissa, is there a way that partners can actually track what's going on? Or how? I know we're working on communication, right? So I want to be really clear. How do the partners know what's going on with their tenant?
Yeah, that is something we would like to innovate and build for our partners. Today, there's not visibility in our tenants to expose to MSPs about the status of their transfers. That is some feedback we have provided to Microsoft as well, even visibility to us to provide quicker real-time updates. And the way we've built it today, the best way for them to understand status is actually looking at their provisioning task or their order status in the Pax8 platform. So when you place that order for that product, you will have a provisioning task, is what we call it in our world, that'll sit in kind of a follow up and a waiting status as it looks like to our partners. What that means is we're just sitting here, we're hanging out, we're waiting until that current provider can approve it. So just know that if it's in that waiting status, that means it's been sent to them and we're waiting for a response. Once we've received that, it'll move to completed. So I would really say check those statuses. But if you have any questions, we've also been providing some internal tools to our teams that aren't unfortunately visible to MSPs today, but allow you to update you on those statuses as well. So you can reach out, but you will ultimately find that our team will say, looks like we're waiting for a response. You need to go reach out to your current provider. And that's what the answer is going to be most of the time if it's not moved to completed. So I think you can argue once you've submitted until it's done, you need to be calling your current provider's rep or whoever you work with to say, hey, what's going on? Can you help me with this?
Excellent, excellent. I feel like I have grilled you today. I feel like you get a gold star, A plus. Thank you so much. But
Thank
we're
you.
not done because we are fully provisioned with CoPilot at Pax8. And I love
Mhm.
hearing how people are using CoPilot, whether it's a prompt. Tell me something cool that you are doing with CoPilot.
I'd be happy to because you know what? I don't know what happened. The universe, someone's out there. The Copilot gods have been working with us, but we actually used Copilot to help us with building this solution for you all. So, to offer the partner to partner transfer tool initiation, we built a product in our catalog. For us, that was the best way that our partners could grab something on demand to initiate that request via API. Unfortunately, it's not a real product. That's not on the Microsoft price list. You're not going to see it on their website. This is not a real product that anyone else has. It's a tool that Microsoft or we're using to leverage Microsoft's partner tool. Because of that, we didn't get a product description. There was nothing fancy. There wasn't something exciting to describe this tool that we built or this product. So we actually drafted up something ourselves and used CoPilot to make it sound really nice and professional. So the next time you log in and you initiate a transfer, check out that product description, not only to learn some expectations and remind you of some of the things we talked about here today, but also to say, wow, look at CoPilot go. Good job. Good job, CoPilot. We were really impressed with what it produced, and we were really grateful for it to help us kind of just wordsmith a bit, right? Because you just get so in the weeds on the details. You're like, can you just help me make this sound good and sound professional and sound like a product description? Because for us and for your experience as an MSP, it is a product. So yeah, it was really fun to use CoPilot for that, and I'm pretty proud of it. Let's check it out.
I love it. That's a great one, Marissa. Thank you so much for your time. I think this is such a valuable conversation for our partners to really understand this provider to provider tool a little bit more. So, big, big thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me, all.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Another session down of Technically Unraveled. We cover a lot of different kinds of content. So if you want to see something specific, please put it down in the comments below. Other than that, we're going to take a little break. Small break, guys. Don't worry. Technically Unraveled will be back. We're going to just take a short stint away. September 12th, though, we're going to kick it back off. We're going to have maybe some surprises, maybe a couple changes. But until then, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everybody.